Now there's a aluminum part right here. I don't know if it's covering genitals of them or not, but the rest is filled with the solution. There's a couple tanks right here. I don't know if they're oxygen. I don't know what they hold. There's no identifying marks on them whatsoever. There's absolutely no air in the tanks. It's all solution. And the grays are just in here, right here. They're suspended, so I imagine they're being clamped somehow, some way to hold them in this where their feet is completely off the ground and stuff like that. And under here, there's about a 1-foot pedestal of black iron steel. Like it's polished, but it looks like a black polished anodized iron. Now the things inside, I mean, resemble what everybody sees, and the only thing that's different about them from what I see on all the pictures is the eyes appear to be deteriorated, or they look like prunes. They're like your fingers get pruned. They're all shriveled up, and you can't see no eye sockets, and there's no visible eyelids or anything like that. They have a grayish, like a grayish pigmentation. It's not scaly or anything. It's like a pigmentation. There's no apparent hair on them. There's little holes, not really slits, but a little hole, maybe an ear cartilage. I don't know. Maybe you're hearing slits are really kind of small for the nose and the mouth. The bodies themselves are very, very thin. They appear not to have any breast or navel or anything like that. Not that I can see.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to sit and study them in full view for a while. I don't think I have heard talk there that I know their systems aren't like ours. But they're very thin and they look very, very frail.
Did you notice the hands?
The hands got a little bit of webbing. Minute, very minute. There's 4 finger-like things, and they're very, very minute piece of webbing. There appears to be no fingernails. As I say, I couldn't look in detail because the hands are turned like this. They're just like a full view, so I really can't see. You can see where there is one joint in each finger, it looks like. I mean, where like ours has 2 joints, I think they only got 1. I'm not sure. I mean, you can just see the crease in where they only got 1. And 1 acts as a thumb like what we do. The feet are not in view. The pedestal from before covers the feet completely, so
Didn't get a look at that.
I didn't get a look at the, and they are all completely identical.
This is his sketch of the tank that the cadavers were suspended in. And he mentioned that this was some kind of a regulatory panel that controlled the temperature and the solution in the tank. This is his sketch, rough sketch, of the alien figure in one of the tanks of liquid. And he said it's not a very accurate sketch, but it's the best he could do.
One of our colleagues there, the rest of the people there are sentries. That there are 4 people there that believe that are working to try to get this on here. And one of them is a biologist, which I guess he's personally performed the autopsies. I say for sure, but we have those reports, so we can, when we receive them, we go over them in detail and like see what you think.
Have you taken a look at the autopsy report yourself?
Yes.
Can you describe some of the anatomy of the...
I don't know too much about biology and the anatomy, and I'm not a pathologist, but I didn't go into detail in reading it. I'm going to be honest, I didn't read it. All I did is look at the pictures of one of the autopsies. And they had the extraterrestrial little gray opened up. They did what they call a scalp, and they cut the top of his scalp off, and we're looking in there. I know there's brain weight. They weighed everything, and the organs are in a little bit similar to what a human Homo sapien anatomy is.
So they had an epidermis, they had eyes, they had a mouth, throat, a brain.
Yes, and they have a small Adam's apple, because you can see that through the what they're kept in. Now the autopsies are performed in level 3, I believe. As I say again, I didn't go into detail in reading the autopsies. I'm just going to leave that to someone else because I really don't understand a lot of the words. I'm a grown. I know they have some kind of a pump system that pumps some kind of a chemical blood, I guess you would say, to keep them. I know I've heard it mentioned that their eyes are, because of the gravitational pull, they're in no gravitation, so their eyes tend to puke go up in there, something like that. I mean, that's about all.
What scientists did Connor O'Ryan mention by name who were involved?
He didn't give us the names of them. He said that the biologist that had charge of the cadavers in the glass cylinders was one of the defectors, one of his co-defectors that were disappointed by the what they thought was unnecessary secrecy, because they thought that they were guarding museum material, and why did it have to be so secret, and it's tying up their lives so seriously they didn't have any liberty or they had no freedoms.
What did Connor O'Ryan say the biologist's position and information was?
He said he just took care of the bodies in the containers, regulated the temperature, regulated the chemical balance in the solution. He escorted people that were brought in to view the bodies and described what they knew about the bodies. He kept the records on them. They only met him when they were both out of the facility. They weren't allowed to talk to anybody in the facility except in front of the TV set or eating lunch at the table. And they had to address each other by number. They couldn't use names. And the numbers were on their tab on their suit. The biologist had a number tab also. They never knew his name. They weren't allowed to give each other their names. So when the Marines were out, they did exchange names. He knew some of the other Marines who they were.
Did Bill Uhouse's testimony coincide with that of what Connor O'Ryan said the biologist within S4 was saying? Did any of that information corroborate each other?
No, because Bill Uhouse said that the two alien beings that he helped build the habitat for they weren't detained, they weren't caged, they weren't restricted, they could move about. They chose not to move about a whole lot because we were as different from them as they were from us, and they didn't really like us. Their facility was a specially constructed facility apart from all the others that we've discovered. Not a part of Groom Lake. It was in Papoose Lake in the S4 facility, but another part from where the craft were stored. After Carter rested up and got some, we took him to the restaurant and had something to eat, came back. He told me what he was there for. He said that he had become disenchanted with the security there. And he, on their R&R, he discovered, when they could talk, he discovered that there was some other security guards that were equally disenchanted and didn't think that thought the security was overplayed and that they didn't like living that way under the